Hi, everyone. It's Lynn from Divine Central. Today, I want to share with you some various examples of how I might handle negative cards without sugarcoating them. Now, I like to listen to other readers at fairs and festivals. We all seem to handle negative cards a little differently. And it's a little easier when we have a negative card that might come up for a positive question like, is my wedding going to go off without a hitch, or am I going to get that award? But it's worse when it's a negative card that comes up for an emotionally charged situation for someone. Even worse when it comes up for a question that's emotionally charged for the client. The worst thing that we can do is lie to them. I mean, while I don't take issue with dispensing advice, I do think it's important to keep it contained to that card in that context. Otherwise, we just risk making the situation worse for them. There's nothing wrong with reframing negative cards. We can interpret and convey them in a number of different ways. We don't have to be brutally honest when a softer approach would work just as well. But the first thing we all need to do is do no harm. And the second thing we all need to do is leave them with some hope, for God's sake. I mean, some people that sit in front of us are so overburdened by their situation, and giving them something positive to take away from the reading, well, it would go a long way. So today I've pulled about a dozen cards that I think most people figure are the most negative in the deck. And I want to dive in and let's just look at the cold, harsh reality of the card and how we might convey that in an honest way without sugarcoating it, but also without, devastating the client. I would never pull just one of these cards in context or with that question, by itself in a reading. I mean, I think that by putting it in a spread, you will actually change maybe the context of the question. You might change the whole, direction of the reading. But for simplicity's sake, let's just do it this way today. And here we go. Okay, everyone. Let's start by showing you what decks I'm going to use. This is the Everyday Witch. It is one of my favorites. It's a kind deck, and a lot of people can really relate to it, and that's why I use it. Here is Darkwood Tarot by Sasha Graham. This is just kind of thrown in for a comparison. I have Tarot of Trees. It's amazing how this deck can be so absolutely clear. Just love it. Animal Totem Tarot. I bought this deck on a recommendation of just for the little white book in it. It's so brilliant, and it's more like a novel. And then for some seriousness, I'm throwing in Osho Zen. Okay, these are my decks. Please, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because that's how people find us. Okay, so let's get started. Are you ready? Will my daughter receive the job offer? And what do we pull? We pull the Ten of Swords. Oh my God, is this like absolutely the worst possible outcome that we could get with this card? We can see the devastation in it. Although I love Osho Zen because it does give the positive outlook. Okay, so what I might say to this mother who's asking the question is, you know what? There's a possibility that your daughter will not receive this job offer. Now, she may face unforeseen obstacles that completely derail her chances, and it could be of her own doing, but it might not have anything to do with her. But for whatever reason, whether she's not qualified for the job in their eyes, or maybe she wasn't mature enough to them if she's just getting out of college, it just makes it one of those so what next, what's next moments. If it's over, it's time to move on to the next thing in life. And you know how young people can be. They have that sense of entitlement. Hey, I interviewed for the job, so therefore I should have gotten it. And, that's not how life works. So rather than send mom away defeated, I might suggest that, if your daughter doesn't get that job, then you can help her focus on resilience. It's a lesson that she gets to learn. And what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Now, I would avoid speculating as to why she didn't get the job. I mean, some things are just not meant to be, and we never know why. So let that be okay. To me, this is a no looking back card. It's over. There's no do-over. And there's nothing to fix either. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel, you see, because we get to move on unencumbered by guilt, by regret, by anything else. So let it just be one of life's mysteries. And well, let's go have some ice cream. Okay, so let's say, will my daughter get the job offer? And instead of the Ten of Swords, we get the Tower. All right, so we are looking at sudden, abrupt change, aren't we? An epiphany, coming to a realization about something. The card shows that the job application process may have been unexpectedly disrupted by, I don't know, sudden and unforeseen circumstances that would completely change the course of events. Now, that could be a company restructuring, it could be a sudden hiring freeze, or maybe just a change in the job description, or a last minute decision to hire within. Now, there's every indication that the situation may turn chaotic for your daughter. And the Tower doesn't necessarily mean failure, but it means that she's going to have to adapt to a changing situation in real time, and she's going to have to face that change head on. So it's something you want to prepare her for. This is where optimism comes in. Now, we should prepare for the worst, but expect the best. And this is also where faith comes in. We need to believe that there's a reason why the universe might step in at that point. Now, the Tower doesn't typically represent a scenario that, well, I'm sorry, it does represent a scenario where, something crumbles under a faulty or a weak foundation. And it exposes the truth about something. To me, it's like it's an epiphany. It's that, oh, I get it now moment, right? And it lets us rebuild a stronger foundation from there. So consider that your daughter might be dodging a bullet on this one. There's a lot of uncertainty with this card, but we don't always have to understand it to benefit from it. Now, let's say someone asks instead, what lies ahead for me for the next 3 months? What do we get? We get the Three of Swords. Okay, so most people think this card represents heartbreak. Oh, let me see here. Heartbreak, emotions, pain, really deep sorrow. And see, I look at it a little differently. To me, swords are about intellect. They're about what we think, and they're about how we communicate what we think, okay, among other things. But threes are about expansion. So, in a positive sense, it could be expanding what we think or expanding on something that we communicate. So, on a negative note, I see this as wounding with words. And by the way, that's brilliant. And that comes from Tom Benjamin, one of my favorite YouTubers. Okay, so we've got the question, what lies ahead for me for the next 3 months? Since this is about a negative side of the card, I might share with them that the Three of Swords comes up when there's a period of significant turmoil, which could manifest in various ways. I don't know, it could be relationship difficulties or personal losses or just feelings of regret. It could represent an argument where things were said that we can't take back, and now you're suffering this horrible regret from saying it. It could be internal. And again, threes are about expansion, and it could be about a situation coming that will cause a profound personal growth for you. And that's not always easy. And in fact, having an epiphany or a change of mind, not a change of heart, about something that could conjure up all kinds of negative or defeating emotions. Change is really hard, and so is growth. Now, situations like these come up from time to time, and we just have to wade straight through them. I don't sugarcoat the turmoil that they bring, but I do like to advise that it's important to give yourself time to process them in a healthy way. By facing these difficult thoughts and emotions, you can gain valuable insights into yourself and learn to, learn to navigate future challenges. And I don't know, I guess with greater resilience. That happens to be my word of the day, I guess. So seek support if you have to. Just remember, this too shall pass, and you don't have to go through it alone. I would keep my prediction general since we don't know in advance what the actual source of this difficult period is going to be. I I don't know. I guess we could, pull some clarifiers on it, but I'd rather not prepare them to brace for one thing just in case it ends up being caused by another thing. Once they experience it, I'd let them know that they're welcome to come back and we'll look at their options for moving forward through the situation. Now, what if the Three of Swords came up with a question? We'll keep this card. How can I improve my chances of getting the promotion? Okay, so this is a card of intellect, remember. It's not how we feel, it's what we think. Although what we think can absolutely trigger how we feel. It's also how we convey what we think, not just to others, but also to ourselves. So it could be negative self talk, if you will. So, in this context, obstacles that may hinder promotion efforts could manifest as self doubt and low self esteem, or feelings of inadequacy, or fear of failure, all of which can sabotage your confidence and subsequently your performance. I would never want to say, hey, never mind the promotion, you're going to suffer a heartbreak. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit into the context. Here again, to me, it refers to wounding with words, whether it be, internal or external. I would warn them to watch for potential conflicts with colleagues, supervisors, or, even within their own team, which could negatively impact their chances. The mental stress and pressure associated with the promotion process may lead to emotional overload, impacting their productivity and their motivation. This is why having an open conversation with a querent can be so important to help them figure out how and why this card appears in the first place. If we can pinpoint what they're most worried about, then free will allows them to change their direction or change their approach to the situation if they know what's coming, right? Or at least make them aware that if and when there's some kind of disruption at work, they can stand back, disengage, and analyze exactly what it is and for what it is. So, I'd like to focus on how they can improve their chances of getting the promotion. This feels like headspace to me. So, number one, identify and challenge negative self talk, focus on your strengths, seek support from trusted colleagues, improve their communication skills, maybe address any conflicts proactively yet constructively. In other words, choose your words wisely and prioritize self-care. Okay, so the Three of Swords doesn't guarantee failure either, just like the last card didn't. It's a warning sign, an opportunity to identify and address potential pitfalls. That's it. By getting your head in the right place, you can increase your chances of success. Okay, so what if we drew the Ten of Wands instead for how do I improve my chances of getting a promotion? The Ten of Wands. This is a lot about heavy burden, right? Burdens and responsibilities. Oh, let's do this. There we go. Suppression. All right. In this context, the card stands for heavy burden. It could be a sign of what's to come with this promotion. You need to take a hard look at the demands of your current job and determine whether or not this promotion will make the situation better or worse. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious or determined despite obstacles in your path. But taking on a new role that could put substantially more on your plate is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of poor judgment. At first blush, I don't know, it could be that this promotion could be more of a burden than you realized. So you need to take a look at how you handle responsibility and develop a better appreciation for your own limits before jumping in. In other words, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Now, do your research. Make sure you understand the demands of the new position. I might also advise to communicate with management your desire to take on the position, because if they know that you're excited about it, then they're going to focus on you. Find ways to show your delegation and time management skills and prove it. I mean, roll up your sleeves and take on additional work when it presents itself, because management's always watching. Okay, so what if the question was, is he the right person for a long-term relationship? What do we get? Oh, we get the Eight of Swords. How do we not sugarcoat that, right? What is this all about? I love this one because it's almost like they're waving a white flag to me. All right. Everyone's surrounded, right? Oh, guilt is what Osho Zen calls this one. But you notice, even though I don't agree with the guilt, I do agree with, see all the, look at this. Look at all the claws grabbing at her head. Again, this is another headspace type issue. Okay. So I call this my stinking thinking card. We're caught up in the darkness of our own thoughts, which is why I love this so much. We can't seem to fight our way out of it. This is mostly an internal issue, but it could also be their intuition telling them that something's not right. I would start by asking what the relationship feels like to them. I mean, does it feel confining or limiting in some way? Do you always feel like you can express yourself or your feelings or your opinions? Do the two of you ever have trouble communicating? Do you ever feel misunderstood or unheard? Do you ever feel like if you do or say the wrong thing, that it could end the relationship? And have you ever spent any time at all with his family or friends? And, if not, why not? And if so, do you feel accepted by them? I mean, there's got to be a reason why the querent sought out a reading on this subject. And there's a reason why this card appeared in that reading. So we as readers need to help them figure out why, first and foremost. I mean, people don't always share this information. And oftentimes, I mean, they don't even know why they feel the way they do. So I might ask if there's an underlying fear or insecurity that has nothing to do with the relationship, like a fear of commitment on their part or, on their better half's part. How about a fear of intimacy or abandonment issues? If there are, that might go a long way to help them resolve their current concerns. But at the very least, I might encourage them to seek professional counseling to address some of these issues. Relationships are hard enough without bringing extra baggage into it. And worse, pinning your hopes and your future on someone who has their own crosses to bear. Oh my gosh, where do you start? So once we can help them identify what's causing their anxiety or fatalistic view of the situation, then we can encourage them to, have a heart to heart with the other person and address their fears or their concerns or their expectations. So what if instead of the Eight of Swords, we get the Devil that appears for the question, is he the right person for a long-term relationship? And to me, this is a significant warning sign, don't you think? We have the Devil. Oh, look at this one. We've got the raven up in the tree. All right. Oh, all right. This is interesting. Look how I love the traps there, insinuating feeling trapped. All right. So the devil often points to unhealthy dynamics within a relationship, such as codependency or issues with personal boundaries on either side, maybe control or manipulation issues. And there's always addictions, right? Alcohol, drugs, sex, power. How about obsession? That's something that can drive people in unhealthy ways, including fear of abandonment. So the devil can signify a situation where both partners could eventually feel trapped or limited by the relationship in some way. Maybe one wants children in the future and the other doesn't. There could be a dream job offer that one doesn't take for the sake of the relationship that could actually hinder their personal growth. There could be outside negative influences impacting this relationship, such as toxic friends or family members, like manipulative teenagers from a previous marriage, or unhealthy social environments where, friends are drunks or cheaters, they like to hang out at strip bars. Outside temptations that are jeopardizing the relationship, like an ex-girlfriend that just won't let things go. So, is he the right person for a long-term relationship? We can't answer that question, not really, but using the cards to spark an honest conversation that can assess the dynamics of that relationship could go a long way in helping them to, I don't know, come to the right conclusion on their own. That could be helping them identify and address the root cause of any unhealthy patterns that are going on in that relationship. Find out if there are any unresolved issues from past relationships or personal traumas that might be impacting the current relationship. Help them reevaluate their personal boundaries and ensure that they're being respected within that relationship. Talk to them about pursuing their interests and cultivate their own sense of self outside the relationship. I mean, are they even allowed to have friends outside the relationship? The devil card doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is doomed or that he's a bad apple. It just means there may be some underlying issues they need to address to ensure longevity. You are simply giving them suggestions of where that process could start. Okay, so what if someone asks, should I move to Boston? And they get the death card. All right. So we all know, right? The death card doesn't always mean death. It can mean the end of a lot of things. It's kind of an inevitable ending to something. I like to call it a natural ending to something that is, that we can't fight. This is almost an easier question to answer than any of them. I always start by saying that death rarely means physical death. I like to use the analogy of my best friend in the whole world just got the dream job of a lifetime, but it's 4 states away. And you know what? Our relationship will always be there, but it will never be the same. And I'm so sad by this change, but I always knew that, eventually someday, life circumstances would get in the way and part us in some way. But you know what? This will also give you a chance to grow and to fill that void that she left behind. So I might say to the querent, this card signifies the natural end of something that will open the door for something new. So this move to Boston could represent a major turning point in your life that could open a whole new world for you. Don't fear that. Moving to a new city can be really daunting. It's filled with uncertainties and anxieties. The death card, it suggests that you might have to confront your fears and step outside of your comfort zone for a little while because there's no way to get around it. You have to go straight through it. So let's talk about what you might lose, since this is the death card. This move might require you to let go of familiar surroundings, of relationships that you've built where you are. You might have to give up your sense of security for a little while. This can be challenging and emotionally demanding, but change is also incredibly liberating. So again, embrace it. The death card doesn't necessarily mean that the move is going to be disastrous. It's a powerful symbol of transformation. It's a sign that you need to make a change for your own personal growth, and that change is going to be inevitable regardless of how it transpired. In this case, it's a physical move to a faraway city. It was bound to happen. Now, let's look at some positive aspects of this transformation for this client. Consider your personal motivations for moving to Boston. Are you seeking new opportunities or a fresh start or a chance to reinvent yourself? Maybe a career that will substantially improve your financial situation? Give the querent the opportunity to see both sides. Remember, the death card is a powerful symbol of transformation and renewal. Change is inevitable and it's always coming. We only need to embrace it when it comes. So, should I move to Boston? What if instead we get the Nine of Wands? I think I can see the look of exhaustion on this person's face. It's like, I'm tired, bending, feeling hindered, bending under the weight of the concerns, having to stand and defend and being tired. They all kind of show a little something different, don't they? When I see this card in this position, I instantly think, this is going to be too hard. I would tell them this. Sure, you might encounter unexpected difficulties such as a competition for rents or higher housing costs, or even just finding a suitable place to live. Making new friends and building a new social network in a new city, that takes time and effort. And adjusting to a new city's culture or transportation system or just even their local customs. The Nine of Wands emphasizes the importance of persistence. You'll need to face all these challenges head on and maintain a positive attitude and remain determined to succeed. Remember the old adage, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Anyway, the nines are about completion. So they're about finishing what we started. So if I've already gotten on the path, then again, embrace it. Somehow you're going to have to dig deep and draw on your inner reserves to get through this. So, how can you make this easier on yourself? Well, I might recommend to them that they do their homework in advance to minimize the stress. I might get them talking about what they've done so far and, what's on their priority list. Reaching out to friends and family and online communities to build a support network, that can help. It also helps to show them that viewing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow from will also help. Now, don't look at the uncertainties of moving as a glass half empty. Consider the exciting new possibilities looking at the glass half full. So, someone might ask, how will my graduation party go this weekend? What are we going to get? We get the Five of Swords. Ooh, is that just, see, to me, that is probably one of the ugliest cards in the deck. Look, it was so bad it broke this branch. What does Osho say? Oh, yeah, comparing ourselves. Look at this. I love this. The Five of Swords. And it is kind of comparing ourselves to others, a thin, hollow bamboo next to a big, thick oak, right? I guess what I might say is it looks like there might be some unexpected tension at your graduation party this weekend. This card suggests that there could be a hidden agenda in play by one of the attendees, or a disagreement, or possibly just a combative tone in the room. This could be an unexpected relative who shows up and tries to dominate the conversation or make others feel uncomfortable. Or maybe someone tries to boast about their own achievements and downplays yours. Oftentimes, it's not even on purpose. They're insecure and socially inept, and that's how they compensate for it. Or maybe someone might just say something hurtful or insensitive, trying to stir the pot. I mean, it happens. So just remember that other people's words hurt only if we believe that there's some truth to them. And oftentimes there's not. So what I might want to say to them is, look, if something comes up this weekend, pick your battles wisely. In other words, don't engage in anything that feels unpleasant. If you find yourself caught in the middle of someone else's drama, just politely excuse yourself and find a quiet place to take a deep breath. You need to focus on enjoying your celebration with the people who truly matter to you. Just remember, this is your day and you have a right to set those boundaries. All right, then. What if someone asks, will my health hold up this year? And they get the Nine of Swords. Hmm. So, what do you think? The Nine of Swords is a card of intense anxiety, fear, and worry. I liken it to wringing your hands and pacing the floor at 3 o'clock in the morning, worrying about something that never really comes to fruition. The sun comes up the next day and things always seem to work themselves out. Whatever health issues you may have already identified, it's important to recognize that negative emotions can significantly impact your physical and your mental well being in a myriad of other ways beyond what you're already dealing with. Excessive worry can weaken the immune system and make us more susceptible to illness and cause insomnia and depression and all kinds of other mental challenges. The card shows that your anxiety over health concerns is only going to add to them. So, first and foremost, you need to prioritize your mental and emotional well being so that you can deal with the physical issues in a realistic frame of mind. Do whatever you have to do to live a healthy lifestyle. And we can throw out a lot of ways that they can do that, like meditation and breathing exercises and yoga. And I mean, eating right and getting enough sleep and engaging in regular physical activity. All those things that help minimize the stress, which help keep you healthy. If anxiety or worry are significantly impacting their daily life, I would recommend that they seek support from a therapist or a counselor. So I'm not saying that these are the right way or the only way to handle such situations. I just wanted to share with you my way. I just don't think it's helpful to sugarcoat negative cards when they come up. Sometimes it's helpful to reframe the cards, especially if they can provide a lesser impact if you think that the querent might not be strong enough to handle the raw, brutal truth. But don't try to change the intention that you've set for these cards. I mean, you've set these intentions so that spirit knows how to communicate with you. It's more helpful to show them that they have options. They can negotiate around some of the obstacles and simply hunker down and prepare to, live through the rest. The fact is, life is messy, and giving them false hope is akin to putting lipstick on a pig. You're going to do them more harm than good by sugarcoating negative cards. They will respect you more as a reader if you just give it to them straight. Again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please watch this next one coming up. See you.